So just starting, I numbered the columns at the top in red. I'll talk about each one of those time series as we'll anchor the conversation. This doesn't make for great audio, but if you're tuning in on YouTube, you can follow along with me. So first off, number one, GDP, what's actually happening? We're seeing a slowdown in annualized GDP growth. Um, you see at the top of that kind of red arrow or red pointing down arrow, started at about 3.8% annualized real GDP growth for where this Atlanta Fed model kind of was clocking that number, and that's slowed down from that 3.8 to 2.6. So we're still not in that recessionary territory. That's not exactly a threat right now, I would say, but there is some noticeable slowing. And if you get into the drivers, you start to see a picture uh, that'll kind of define perspective on the things we'll talk about coming up. So number two, the biggest component of the economy now, I'm looking at column two, PCE, personal consumption expenditures. That is just, you, me, other households. We're going out and spending, right? And that's the biggest component of the U.S. economy. It's north of the high end of the 60 percentages, right about 70% of the U.S. economy, and that contribution to economic growth from the consumer is actually slowing down, and that's noticeable here in the data as the Atlanta Fed model updates with every important time series. So started the beginning of the quarter, or May 30th at the top of the spreadsheet here at 2.25% contribution to growth. That's slowed down remarkably. It's now showing just above 1%, 1.08% year over year annualized growth. So as far as the consumer is concerned, this whole engine is, slowing down as far as its number one contributor. So that's noticeable. Um, it's going to be a trend to continue to watch because, you can't have your number one contributor slow down, further and potentially become, once you cross over zero, then we're in the recessionary scare type of environment. All right. So for now, the consumer looks like they are holding up. We get some important time series starting next week. I think it is the 17th. We get retail sales data. I'd expect for it to show more of the same now that we have an established trend. But overall, what looks to be happening is the consumer is slowing down. They're tightening their wallets. All right. Next, you get into um, like the investment side of the economy in terms of equipment. This is not a big sector, but it's a leading indicator of construction projects, real world, like moving earth, that type of stuff. And you see equipment starting to budge as well. That same trend we saw in the consumer, equipment is now, as of like the prints we've seen uh, in Q3, starting on July 2nd with auto sales, you've seen equipment start to show negative growth. So that's stuff like your John Deeres, your Caterpillars, your big yellow and orange machines, right? You see by the side of the freeway that are moving dirt, concrete, et cetera. That part of the economy is slowing down, and then you get into um, construction, right? Non-residential structures and residential investment. You see, and this is column 5 and 6, if you follow with me, labeled at the top of the headers. Those are also slowing down. So non-residential structures is now negative 0.16% contributor to growth, and residential investment also showing negative with negative 0.27%. So this is the actual things in the economy, like construction workers, housing, building new commercial buildings, industrial, et cetera. That part of the economy is also slowing down. So if you just look at those three things, or like big things, the consumer, equipment, and then structural construction, if you're the FOMC, you are probably watching those things very closely because the trend is that on those things is not looking good for like the direction of which way those are going. And eventually, what's going to happen if past is prologue, you'll see some policy update to address these things, which means, hey, we're going to ease this, or we're going to stop tightening. We're going to either cut rates or, slow down QT or flip QT completely off, since we've talked about in other weekly roundups after the FOMC meeting so far this year. We've basically slowed the QT down to a trickle. We're, one more twist of the faucet away from turning that tightening off completely. But if you're one of the policymakers running the show here, these are the things you're probably discussing and watching closely. So eventually, and this is where you get some my perspective here watching fixed income markets. It's not a matter of if, but it's most probable, like it's a matter of when we get these rate cuts.